Hey, Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6, where we're in the process of building our juicy spaceport. Now, I know I've probably done a couple of space games in a row, but hey, look, space is fun. Everybody likes space, right? I do think that I would maybe like to get the Earth satellite started. I'm thinking we're pretty close to the moon landing. Do I have time? I mean, it would be nice to get the coal power plant here in Copan because that would be +8 production, which is a significant amount of production for 2 turns. The return on investment on that is pretty damn good. It'll also give me great engineer points. So I think I will go for the coal power plant in here, and then we'll push for the Earth satellite unless I guess, yeah, I should probably just get those projects underway. It's probably just a good move to get those going. Did I in fact build? No, I haven't quite built the Royal Society yet. That's going to be coming after that factory. You're going to come in here. Which spaceport is it? This one. Yeah, I'll spend all these leftover military engineers. They're not great engineers. They're like mediocre engineers. Well, I mean, every engineer that successfully builds like an important piece of civil infrastructure is probably a great engineer. So we managed to get the flood barrier here in the city of Calakmul. I do think we want to get the factory, and we're getting the factory purely because it scales off of the Science Foundation cards that gives you +2 great engineer points for every factory that you have. And so that's really, really nice. That'll be worth +3 great engineer points in total because the factory itself gives you 1, and those great engineer points will allow us to get people like Robert Goddard incredibly quickly, who gives you a 20% boost towards space race projects. And don't forget that we have the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, which allows us to use him twice, so it will actually be a 40% boost towards space race production. University has been completed in Yaxchilan. We could go for the research lab. I do think it would be better for us to go for the harbour first in order to get the gold, and the more gold that we have, the more builders that we can buy, the better our situation will be when it comes to Royal Societying builders into thingies. Now, I've got a 2-charge builder and know where to send them. I guess I could send them over to this new city. Has all my chopping been done here? I think I'm just waiting for this final chop on this tile, and then the city of Uxmal is basically completed, churning out signs, churning out gold, and then we can go ahead and get started on the city of Tikal properly. I've got builders like hanging around waiting for us to build this city up. It's a really fun mechanic to be able to build cities up really quickly with Magnus. I think it's one of those mechanics that you don't fully appreciate until you just see how insane it is to Magnus chop a city into existence. Let's keep the builders going. I definitely think we should put mines on these hills here. That'll give Caguana potentially more production tiles. It's actually a fairly low production city compared to the total amount of food that it's making. It's making really good food, don't get me wrong. I think we're going to chop here, and then we'll eventually put a farm there. So that's the city of Uxmal completely completed. We will 1 turn the arena in here to continue to keep our amenities really high. I'm going to put you into the city of Tikal, Magnus, and 5 turns from now we'll be able to chop this city out into a really good place. I could theoretically use these military engineers for chops as well, but they served their purpose. They made the stuff that we wanted. And I'm really, really looking forward to actually finishing off this game because it's been a super satisfying game to play my way through. It looks like Broadway and Orzgaz has been built, and there was a little bit of a drought. We have a research lab here in El Mirador. That's fantastic. We should potentially maybe go for the seaport. I don't think that's a particularly interesting building to go for. We could instead go for the entertainment complex, which would lend us to getting maybe a slightly better thing in here. And if we go for that entertainment complex, it would provide us with the amenities that we need in this local area, because we currently have a water park, although we need to build that water park up to its AoE buildings. I think getting the, let me have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually an entertainment complex on this tile right here. I think that's a 5-city entertainment complex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is. That's a 5-city entertainment complex, which is a ton of amenities that'll really help the city out. It's a fantastic build. We did manage to get the workshop in Quirigia. It's got its fully built other things. We don't need the harbour seaport. We will go for the factory because that's worth +3 great engineer points per turn. It'll take 7 turns to be completed, but we're not worried about that. You did have your own arena, so now you just don't need to build a zoo because we'll be building the zoo in El Mirador. You have a fully built observatory. You have a fully built harbour. You could get another district if we really wanted to. We could pop down a theatre square and get the culture going. How much culture do we really need to finish off the culture tech tree? I mean, it's actually a pretty decent amount. So we could go for the +3 theatre square here if we really wanted to. My theatre squares are half price, so I think I'll just go for that +3, and we'll keep following that profitable train of thought. I think that's a reasonable thing for us to do. The Golden Gate Bridge has been built by Nader Shah of Persia. We got +1 era score there for researching nuclear fission. We do want that, and we want it in a pretty good thing. Let me see, what's the adjacency here? I'm looking for a key. 9. It might be good for me to build a nuclear power plant in this city right here. We also want the stadium. And we would also like the flood barrier. We have a couple of tiles here that are going to flood. We've got 17 turns to do that. So I think I'll finish the spaceport. I'll really quickly finish the flood barrier. Then I want to get the stadium. And if at all possible, I would love to get the Estadio de Maracaña. So I think I might purchase the stadium to get us that era score, as well as a ton of amenities. We're actually up to plus 10 amenities. It would be kind of cool if amenities actually scaled. Like if you had extra positive amenities, you would get like super growth. That'd be really cool. I do have one charge left in Gustav Eiffel, and I'm going to use him on the Estadio de Maracaña. Oh, sorry, I have to put it into the construction queue like so, and then I'll use him on it, and that'll take 5 turns off that, and then we'll go back towards the flood barrier, sorry, Spaceport, Flood Barrier, Estadio, in that order. Perfect. We have completed professional sports, which does give us access to ski resorts, which is a nice boost of amenities across our empire because we can turn every other mountain tile into a +1 amenity. Although actually, funny enough, my empire doesn't have a whole lot of amenity-able tiles. We are not very amenable to this thing. We do have a couple of mountains. Namely, there's a mountain over here for an amenity, and there is an mountain over here for an amenity. So I'll go ahead and use this builder to get those amenities going. In terms of what we're going to be going for next culturally, it could be worth it to go for cultural heritage to get the +3 envoys. But I think the place that we want to go to is go immediately to globalization because we want that International Space Agency card for the +4, +5% science per city-state that we are suzerain of. So we're just going to go ahead, beeline space race into globalization. That's going to be amazing for us. And we'll also get a governor title out of that, which will be relatively useful. Not like amazingly useful, but it'll formulate a part of our plans. Let's build a ski resort. Beautiful. We love it. It's a beautiful ski resort. And I think we also want to keep you moving next turn. Torre de Belém was just built. Awesome. First technology of a new era discovery. We just got satellites, which I believe is an information era tech. Go ahead and continue to protect that. We immediately want to go to nanotechnology, but honestly, it's better off if we just fill in the important parts of the tech tree. But let's go to nanotechnology so we can get Mars Colony, get it launched. We're working through it. We really don't want Mary Leakey in this particular game. She's S tier for tourism games, in my opinion, but for the kind of game that we're in, she's not really important. Now, in Caguana, we do have the option to go for research labs here, or the aquarium. I think keeping those amenities really high is just better science scaling, but the research lab is worth like 15 science. This is worth like so many amenities. I think we'll go for the research lab first, and then we'll be able to backfill for potentially more amenities as time goes on. We did get the research lab in Tonina. The city has amazing production. We will grab the flood barrier here. It'll only take 4 turns to construct. Magnus is established next turn in our final city. And actually, we can get a little bit of solar farmage on our desert, which is quite nice. And now I'm kind of tempted to settle a desert city. Oh wait, no, these are Petra tiles. That's why they're so valuable. Never mind. It wouldn't work in the city that wasn't Petra. I think it would be kind of cool. I think Civilization missed, Civ 6 in particular, missed a really cool boat where they could have gone for like some terraforming stuff. Like imagine if you could terraform the desert, like you would plant like shrubbery, and then after like 20 turns, it would become like a plains. And I think there is place for like, I really do think that if they wanted to do a mid-game of Civ 6, it would be like, call it like equalization, right? And it's all about like transforming ex nihilo style. Like you land on a barren planet and you have to like terraform tile by tile, and as you terraform the planet, the effects you're having on the planet will start to randomly do things. I really think, here's my opinion, okay? Ed Beach is a fantastic game designer, and I think he would just make a really cool he would make a really cool terraforming game in the Civ 6 style. I just think he would do it. I think he would do a great job, especially with the team that he has at Firaxis. We would like the aquatic center, but honestly, we're pumped up on amenities right now, so we don't need to pump up the jam any higher. We're just going to go ahead and do the moon landing. Now, before we finish the moon landing, I'm going to go through every single city and put them on science focus. And the reason I'm going to do that is because the amount of science that you get from the moon landing, the amount of culture you get from the moon landing is equal to 10 times your science. You get a culture boost. So before we finish, I want you to grow though. I don't want you to just completely cripple yourself. You do need to grow. So we prioritize food a bit. Okay, you actually can't go into science focus because you'll just starve unless we actually need to build a seaport here for food. Yep, and we need to prioritize it because the city is struggling for food. The reason that the seaport will help with food is because the seaport itself produces +2 food, which allows it to sustain 1 citizen, and then it also adds +1 food yield to the citizen yield of the harbour district. Harbour tiles provide +1 food as a baseline, so that means each harbour tile will provide 2 food, which gives the city quite a bit of food to play around with. We're going to pass on Mary Leakey and hope someone else takes her. In terms of envoys, we've got 4 envoys in the bank, and we really just care about getting suzerainty. Also, oh my god, Chinguetti just gave me like 100 faith per turn. That's insane. So yoinking suzerainty here is kind of the name of the game, so that we're prepared for International Space Station. So just hold on to your envoys to maintain suzerainties, and then when you have enough, you do a little yoinking. Let's go ahead and chop this feature. That'll be the observatory built. Now, I didn't really plan anything beyond the observatory, but I do think that the city should one turn a library, and we'll start buying more tiles that we had already planned. And we'll think a little bit about what we want to do from here. Maybe this could just be like a giga farming city. I mean, the giga farm looks like this. We farm here, we farm here, we farm here. We definitely farm here. We could maybe put a district there. God, this is the giga farm city, actually. Yeah, this is a giga farming city. Okay, I can make do with a giga farm. So we just need builder charges to giga farm. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves another builder, and we'll start to work on that. This trade route is going to go ahead and get moved over to Copan because we're trying to centralize all of our trade routes into the main city that's going to be producing our moon landings. I'll pop a little farm down here adjacent to this campus so that we get the benefit from it. We have secured ourselves a golden age, which is a really awesome thing to have done. A cultural alliance from you is no interest of me. Boom, we transition to the next turn. The flood barriers have been built into the capital, and we're going to get to work on the Estadio de Bacana. We have also managed to finish the Royal Society over here, so we can actually start to feed engineers in here to just get rid of them, so we don't have to micro them anymore. The Royal Society is completed. We could go for the nuclear power plant. It's not a terrible play. I just don't think this city needs a power plant. Its industrial zone is doing all of the work that it needs to already. So I think I would be much happier if I went for something like science focus, plus a whole bunch of campus research grants. I have nothing else I need to build in here. I guess in theory, my amenities are dipping, so I will build the aquarium really quick because it's about the cost, and that'll get me another +1 amenity. And we'll kind of see how the city stands there once we do that. In terms of amenities, I do need to purchase my amenities. Boom, 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 and boom. That means I'll be renewing my friendships with people soon, and I'll sell off all of my unneeded strategics, although except for coal, because I am burning a lot of coal. I'll need to start thinking about renewables, and I'm not burning much oil right now, so yeah, sell that off, sell that off, sell that off, selling off all our strategics. I'm holding on to a lot of Diplo favor too. I could probably sell off a good chunk of that, like 200 maybe. We're making crazy cash per turn. All right, you got your library here. Let's pop in the university. We will chop the university. Nice, that's a nice one-turn outcome. You go here, plant that farm. You go here, plant that farm. We will need a couple of solar panels in this city to power it, but we can probably put those in the desert. We only need 2 solar panels, 3 if we want to build another district, which we can totally do. I'm going to take Tax Collector on Reina. It just seems like a pretty good ability to get a little bit of extra gold in the late game. I don't really particularly see much more value in anything else. We definitely want gold production, and we want to trade with Persia. So the only last city that we are not trading with is Ray. I think we are now literally trading with every single Persian city from Copan, and we're netting a really fat 55 production from outgoing trade routes. So that's why we centralize all the trade routes into a single city. If you were wondering why, I hope that is your answer. I hope you are satisfied with such an answer. I do want to build that, and you are waiting for the university to complete, and then we'll chomp for the research lab. I'm up to a healthy 650 science per turn, which is over twice what Scythia is making. I'm 60 techs. I'm 7 techs ahead of in second place. Lautaro has started his spaceport, as is Tamiris, but I'm way ahead, so I believe we have this in the bag. It's all about, can I beat it in under 250 turns? Now, in this city, it's not a bad move to go for the nuclear power plant. You would power a couple of nearby cities and give us a little bit of science. It's an expensive building, but we can just buy it, and I will. Boom. Nuclear fusion has been boosted. Excellent. Next step for us is focus science. We've got 4 turns left on that. You have a harbour, you have an industrial zone, and you have an observatory. The only other thing that we might consider in here is to get a few more amenities, or potentially a district that's half price. Like, for example, a aerodrome. I do believe you get some aero score from aerodrome, so I'll just go for that. We'll feed another military engineer into this. It'll slightly boost the moon landing. It's not much of a boost, but it just mainly gets rid of those military engineers. We'll go ahead and build a camp right there. You want to build another farm. We'll buy the farming tiles. Boosh. Farm right there. It's an insane amount of food that the city is making. I'll say focus on food. Just grow, grow, grow. Because the faster you grow, the faster you grow. The faster you grow, the more tiles you can work. The more tiles you can work, the faster you grow. It's a infinite feedback loop that I am trying to start. So the person I'm worried about in terms of alliances is actually Persia. My alliance expires this turn. So I need to go in. I need to get friendships with everyone. Hey, what's up? And the whole purpose of getting friendships with people is just like just to make sure they can't declare war on you. I'm going to go ahead and get a military alliance with Gilgamesh to give me the capability of defending myself, and then with Nader Shah, we will get an economic alliance so that we can share suzerainty, and more importantly, he will be my ally, providing me with production and gold and all of these trade routes that is allowing me to grow Koban to a gargantuan size. Should probably build a neighborhood in here, but there's only a +4 available, so it's not really worth it. Okay, keep feeding military engineers. That brought it down to 3 turns. We can claim Robert Goddard, who's fantastic. I will. Who's coming up next? It looks like it's Shah Jahan. We don't particularly care about Shah Jahan. He's not important to our game plan. We do care about Sergei Korolev. We definitely want him because he's a big boost towards space race projects. And we'd also like Werner von Braun. Now, in terms of great scientists, our priorities would definitely be Stephanie Kwolek and Carl Sagan. Pretty much everyone else we don't care about. We just care about the space race stuff. The Schrodinger might be fine, and Margaret Mead. But here's the thing. Are they really that important? Let's go ahead and take that 20% production boost towards rocketry products, which means we're getting an extra, whatever this is, we're getting an extra 27.1 production, okay, towards all of these projects, which is fantastic. And that's in every single city. We did manage to get the flood barrier over here, and we're working a decent amount of coastal tiles, and this city also could potentially grow quite a bit more. So I do think a seaport isn't a terrible idea in here, just to allow the city to continue to verticalize. But I do think it's justified now for me to work food and science. I want the city to grow rather than build. It has already achieved most of its production, so we just need to fill out the land. So yeah, we'll focus on that. It's quite a bit of growth. Good returns on investment. We've come over to here. We have culture. Let's go ahead and drop the oil rig. Now, optimally, the optimal thing to do here, by the way, is to just work production. But I think it's more fun if I work food. I mean, optimally, working production is the thing to do, but food is more fun. I guess I'll do the optimal thing. Fine, before people cry at me in the chat. Let's go ahead and build the amphitheater because we just try to get that little bit of extra culture towards the late game. You can now focus on science and production. Yeah, science and production. That's fine. You've already been fed in. That's fine. And you will go here. I'll get me a quarry. You step there. And university is finished next turn. Go ahead and build me some farms. I may need one more builder in that city. I think that would be fine. Let's grab ourselves a builder. Boosh. We'll place the quarry, we'll start the research lab, we'll chop the research lab, excellent. And we've got another couple of chops, so we can get that research lab pretty damn quick. We did manage to get the aquarium here in Koba. I'm going to quickly grab the aquatic center because that should provide a decent amount of amenities in the nearby area. And we'll use Robert Goddard again. We'll feed a military engineer here, and we're 1 turn away, so let's make sure we go through all of our cities. And I'm going to go through and make sure every city is focusing on science and production. Production and science. Yep. Science and production. Science and production. Science and production. Science and production are lit up. Science and production are lit up. Production and science are lit up. Production and science are lit up. And that should mean every city is cranking at maximum science per turn. So we should get 7,000 culture this turn, which should catapult us almost just on the verge of finishing globalization. Nice. Moon landing launched, so we get grants a one-time culture bonus equal to 10 times your science per turn and marks a second step towards the science victory. So that's fantastic. We get a nice +4 era score for being the first one to do the moon landing, and we have completed the space race and boosted our way through rapid deployment. So we will 1-turn rapid deployment and then potentially maybe 2-turn globalization. Hoping I could 1-turn globalization, but we might not get that lucky. We still haven't even researched the Mars colony, which is fine. That does give us time in this city to kind of pick up a few extra things, like, for example, a broadcast center. We could also go for the aquatic center. We could go for a stock exchange, all that stuff. We're no longer burning coal like crazy. And I think that's partially because we've diversified our resource types. That's a +5. I think I should totally switch to... Oh, I have oil power in here, but we're not actually using oil power, weirdly enough. A few of these other cities aren't powered, but we can make do with some of the late game, maybe coastal stuff. We'll see. Entertainment complex is completed in Mirador. Let's go ahead and get that flood barrier. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that there was a big flood barrier problem here. Well, thankfully, I do have the cash, and I have railroads in position already to get my military engineers from the city of Koba to El Mirador in just a handful of turns before the flooding can get out of hand. So hopefully we can get that done. Let me just double check all of my cities have their flood barriers. You are missing a flood barrier. Let's make sure we get that. Oh, you are missing a flood barrier. Let's make sure we get that. We'll chop that out because it shouldn't be too expensive for us to chop that. We will keep placing farms. Just insane amounts of farms so we can grow this city at a ridiculous pace. What I will also do is I'll come into TCal and I'll buy this tile and I will just immediately chop out the flood barriers, and then that'll overflow to the research lab, which is perfect. We're missing a bunch of spies, but honestly, spies haven't been that important to me this game, so I'm not even worried about it. Oh, hopefully I can get this military engineer. The previous turn move trick where I get to move him right before the turn rolls over and then he gets his movement restored. It's a very cute, very fun trick that allows you to move a unit that you forgot to move. I think it only works in single player. So we have completed the amphitheater. Let's go into purchasing. We will purchase Great Works of Writing. And this is really just like small optimization stuff that I really shouldn't need or have to do and probably shouldn't do, but it is kind of fun to do. And let's make an archaeological museum. Let's make it fun. Let's have a look at you. Yeah, we want to put a farm right there, and then I want to move you this way and you to here. I'm happy to be united as friends. I'm always happy to have more friends. Dude, I love friends. Plus 2 era score there. We also have globalization, e-commerce. I do think that e-commerce is a fantastic card here. It's hard to pick what I get rid of for it though. Maybe I can live without the 11 amenities from liberalism, because e-commerce would give me 26 production and 35 gold in my spaceport city. And I still maintain full ecstatic cities because I focus so hard on amenities. So I think we're good. Now, in terms of globalization, I get 1 governor title from here. Do I want to go for social media? No. Maybe we could go for... Oh, I totally forgot to plug in the card that I was meant to plug in. Can I 1-turn something? Let me see. Yeah, I could 1-turn class struggle really quick. I'll 1-turn opera and ballet. No. I'm going to 1-turn monarchy so that we can get the maximum amount of culture overflow from doing that. We have finished an aerodrome. I'm going to build a hangar mainly for, fun reasons. You are actually failing to grow. And why is that? It's because you're prioritizing production. I'm going to say prioritize food. And actually, I'm just going to let you prioritize food because you're a little bit undergrown. So we need to grow you up a little bit. You go there. Where's our next farm? I think I would like to start powering up the city for the sake of my research lab. So getting a couple of those in there seems reasonable. No cultural alliance. I'm interested in no alliance is good, sir. I'm only interested in the science. Awesome. Right, there's wind farms. We can build wind farms. We have access to divine right. Mostly that's going to be used so that we can optimize our science. We're going to drop Republican legacy as well. No, actually, we're going to drop Merchant Confederation. We're going to keep Republican legacy because Republican legacy is a ton of housing and amenities. So, boosh, that'll boost our science by about 100. So now the thing that we really care about is just suzerainty, because every suzerainty that we have is a 5% science boost, which is about 30 science, which is really, really nice. A lot of optimization that's going on here. You would like to... I don't think I care about social media. I think we just push for these late games. I think I just click on the end of the culture tree now. I really just don't care. Whatever comes up in here, it doesn't impact the game. I've gotten the final sort of science, culture, civic. We don't need to worry about anymore. We'll get the aquatic center just for the potential to keep our amenities really high. And then the scientist or the spy in this city, I really want him to counter spy on the spaceport itself so that it can't be sabotaged, because it's really unfortunate if your spaceport gets sabotaged. It's like quite unfortunate. Let's go ahead and pop down more solar panels. We will go ahead and chop here to finish that. And then we will use our overflow production to get us a neighborhood on a low productivity tile, like this solar panel tile maybe. Oh, it's a +6 tile right there. Hell yeah. Slowly work on that neighborhood. Allow the city to continue to grow outrageously. Feed a military engineer into there. I had another one going, didn't I? Maybe that was it. How long? 4 turns. I'll quickly buy 1 more military engineer to finish that. Soon it will be time to start producing builders. But we're not quite there yet. We fully completed the water park district, getting us a nice boost of amenities. We also got conservation, which is nice. That'll give us +3 envoys, so we can potentially fight for more city-states. You could make the argument that we should have the containment card plugged in for the science scaling, but I don't think it's that important. Samarkand has been stolen from me. I think I can take Johannesburg back for 3 envoys, so I'll do that because that just keeps our science going up. I'd like to be around 1,000 science by the end of the game. In this city, I'm going to start working campus research grants to keep the science boosting, and I'll send a military engineer towards this city. We'll feed you in there. That'll finish nice and quick. And you are looking for work. Drop me a farm. Come in here. Buy that tile. Drop me another farm. Oh, it's beautiful. This city's ability to output food is actually ridiculous. We don't care about banning the production of things. I honestly really just don't care about most of this, so I'll vote for myself heavily on the diplomatic victory thing, and then I'll say tourism from Great Works of Writing is doubled because it's fun, and then ban the production of coal power plants. Sure, why not? Banned coal power plants, writing is doubled, and Tamar won the diplomatic victory points. That's fine. I don't think she's anywhere close to winning a diplomatic victory. I'm on 13 in comparison. Would have been on 15, which would have been exciting. Cybernetics is here. We have completed the Mars colony, so now we just need to find the important late game technology, the exoplanet expedition. So I'm going to start researching nuclear fusion, and then I'll also get robotics. I could buy 2 drones to boost the lasers, and I'm the kind of psycho that will do that. 1 drone, 2 drones, that way we 1-turn lasers, which shaves basically a turn off our victory. We'll go ahead for Togo Haihi ha 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 ha. I don't know how to say his name. And we'll just retire him because we don't particularly care about his abilities. He was just worth a little bit of era score. The aquatic center in Copan has been completed. I think we come down here now and we get started on the Mars colony. And we're going to start mass purchasing builders in this city to be sent to gather up around these spaceports. Actually, I don't even need to do anything. I can just buy this tile. It's a high value tile right there. Yeah, look at that. It's growing. I'm going to say we don't care about production. We care more about food. Just grow the hell out of this city. The modern era ends. We just got jet fighters and missile cruisers where nuclear fusion is coming. We just got the archaeological museum. I'm going to go ahead and buy an archaeologist. Some flooding did happen, but I think thankfully I managed to avoid the majority of the flooding. Most of the flooding, I think, if I go for a search for coastal lowland, I think most of the real flooding would have happened in other people's empires. I think I managed to avoid the vast majority of flooding thanks to, pretty active construction of flood barriers. I got pretty lucky this game in that the AI didn't do very well. And that I just kind of ran away with the game a little bit, which is it's kind of what happens when you get an isolated start and no one messes with you and you don't have to build an army. So the archaeological museum is finished. I think we could make an argument for the broadcast center, and we will. You get up here to El Mirador, feed in, boom. No flooded tiles here. We're still clean. These 2 drones are going to be put asleep. This builder is going to make his way to the spaceport. We probably need to build a railroad here. Is there a railroad in this tile? No, it's only a modern road. All right, so that's the thing that's missing. I'll keep buying. So now I basically want to buy a builder from Palanque every single turn in a perfect scenario to feed into the things. And then, in fact, I'm going to make that so important that Palanque is going to start just mass producing builders, because this is the most important place to build builders from. Because the more charges that your builders have, the more valuable they are for the amount of production that they provide to a space race project, actually. And so that's why we'll be forcing in here. Now, we don't need to use builders for the Mars colony. We just need to start having builders surrounding here at a rate of 2 per turn. Because we have 2 spaceports, so that's how many builders we need to produce per turn. So by building slightly ahead of myself, I can sustain production on a single city for longer. Because a single city can only produce 1 per turn. But if you start producing ahead of time, you have a buffer zone, and then you can drag other cities in to provide slightly lower quality builders. We got the factory over here in Quirigua. I don't think we need to push any further. Mary Leakey will soon go. Nikola Tesla could be worth it for me to take. Let me have a look here. He's fine. Yeah, I think I might take Nikola Tesla. Let's go ahead and just work campus research grants. That'll be great. Keep that science pumping. We got the seaport in this city, giving it slightly more food. Let's take the market. We'll go for the market. We'll keep getting the gold up. When's the next flood? 11 turns. So we can use this guy for, I guess I'll just finish off the flood barrier here. And then we can go ahead and start building the arena, because the amenities in this city are starting to dip, right? We're down to only +6, which means we have very little in the way of buffer. All right, let's get some more of those solar panels to keep this city powered. I want to dig up this artifact as well so that we can put another solar panel there. City is currently powered almost entirely by, is empowered entirely by renewable resources. Okay, Estadio del Maracana, +2 amenities in every city in our civilization, which is amazing. I think, does this provide you with +6 culture as well? Yeah, it gives you +6 culture in every city. So it's like a super souped up Colosseum. Really good for defending a culture victory, actually, is to rush this wonder if you can. Because it just gives you so much culture. Like, we're up to, that's 6 culture per city, which is insane. That's like 3 great works of writing. It's like 3 monuments. Plus amenities. We're stacked on amenities right now. Erwin Schrödinger. Do I care about Erwin Schrödingheimer? Let me see. No, I think I skip Scrode. I think we pass on Scrode. Eureka for all information era techs. I think we pass on this guy too. You know what? We'll recruit him. It's fine. And then we'll pump. We're pumping for Carl Sagan. Let me tell you, dude, I would pump for Carl Sagan any day of the week. Triggers Eurekas from all the thingies. That'll save me a little bit of science. It's fine. Estadio is finished. Why don't you go ahead and keep pumping campus research grants? You got your research lab? Finally. We should probably get the aquarium to keep amenities high. Okay, market completed in Tonina. Let's go for the bank. You are in position. That's fine. +1 appeal to any tile. We really don't care about Alvar Alto, do we? No, we want Sergi. Sergi. +1 appeal to every tile, though. That's fun. Is it Sergei? Sergi? Sergi? Alrighty then. Suzerainty. I've already got three suzerainties right now. Can I yoink one easily? There's no one I'm really close to taking. I do have 6 envoys, so I could fight for Samarkand, which is kind of like in my territory, so it kind of annoys me that someone else is fighting for that. I don't care about containment efficiency. That's fine. Put these builders to sleep in their positions. They're just like a storehouse for builders. Alvar Alto, I'll get rid of you. You're waiting for an archaeologist who has just about arrived to clear this tile. Cultural Alliance refused to deal. And there's the Mars colony. We have completed 3 of the 4 stages of the science victory. We are on the verge of winning the game. We just have to launch the exoplanet expedition so we can head off to Alpha Centauri and hopefully prevent Beyond Earth from ever happening. No, I'm just kidding. What we could potentially do is launch the what we want to do is launch the exoplanet expedition and then keep pumping up the speed. So we're really just looking for smart materials. They're smart materials, amazing. So we can get started on the exoplanet expedition in a couple of turns, and then we will start digging around for the techs that allow us to boost the exoplanet expedition. So basically how the exoplanet expedition works is it's a space race project that when you finish it, it basically starts a countdown timer, although it's a count up timer that goes up by 1 per turn, and when it reaches 50, you win the game. And then there are further projects later on in the tech tree that you can research and then build extra projects that will speed up the count up timer, so you go up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So instead, you could potentially win the game in like 6, 7 turns instead of 50. We are right around the 250 turn mark, so I mean we're on pace for like what I would consider to be like an average space run, like a good, strong space run. Around turn 300 would be a slow space run. So I would say we're doing fine. Let's queue up a couple of campus research grants. I think that'll be fine. Over here, we've managed to finish the arena. Let's grab ourselves the zoo. We want to keep those amenities nice and high. We also want to keep builders pumping out of the city. So in the city of Palanque, we need to be remembering to buy builders almost every single turn. We got a great artist. I'm not even sure if I have a use for him. I'll just put him to sleep somewhere random. All right, archaeologists dig up this tile. Even though it's not particularly important for the outcome of the game, I do think it's exciting and fun to do this, so we shall. Yeah, you know, it's fun to build optimal cities and have little fun things, and you know, there's some inexplicable joy I get from like building cities and putting tiles where they belong and getting the adjacency. Like they've built an incredibly satisfying experience in Civ 6, and I think there's just something about it. Why would you settle the city here, Byzantium? What is wrong with you? Yeah, okay, we got the harbour here in Yaks chillin'. Let's go for the lighthouse so that we get an extra trade route, and ooh, a geothermal vent. Yeah, why not? Let's get the geothermal. Why not? Let's also put the Alpine Resort here. 1 turn until a bunch of my campus research grants finish. I don't think anybody's close to a culture victory. No, it doesn't seem like it. A couple of people are doing like really well on the defensive side. Let me look at the culture. Basil is doing amazing. He's got what looks to be about 300 tourism per turn, which isn't quite enough. The AI tends to win a culture victory around turn 300 to 350. I've never really seen them win it sooner than that. We have finished the airport, which will potentially, I think the thing to do now is to continue to pump campus. You've managed to finish a broadcast center. I don't think you need a seaport. I think what you need to do is to go ahead and pump campus research grants so you can convert your production into science and maximize that science yield. The neighborhood has been completed in Tikal. We're going to go for, well, what we really want to go for is actually the shopping mall, because that's worth +2 gold. Really, it's worth +2 amenities. And so that'll just help keep the amenities nice and high in Tikal. It takes away some of the pressure. Because right now the city is eating 5 amenities and it has +9 positive. So every amenity that we can scoop up for the city just really helps out. Speaking of amenities, we probably have amenities we can sell and potentially buy. So I'll sell those off and purchase luxuries. Yeah, perfect. Amazing. 13 ecstatic cities. I really wonder, maybe this might have been my best game with amenities ever. Like just the sheer amount of happiness that I've had. Probably one of my tallest growth games as well, and one of my least wide games as well. Even though I have a bunch of random cities over here, like I feel like if I was in a wide game, I would have settled like 3 cities here and like 2 cities here and like 8 cities here. But instead it was just like one city, and then I put an extra couple of cities in here. But these are like super productive cities, right? 25 science per turn, 50 science per turn, 44 science per turn. I focused on quality over quantity, and it actually kind of worked out for me, and I didn't even have to build that many settlers. And I also captured like a really nice city state that wasn't really particularly helping me with my game plan. So I think I feel quite proud of myself for how much restraint I showed with regards to how many cities I made. Okay, let's move this trade route over to Copan. Even if we can't get another trade route with Persia, we should at least get a trade route with like a high production trade route if we can. The world enters into the atomic era, and we have entered into it in a golden age, which is very nice. Now, Scythia is not particularly happy about the fact that we're in a golden age. We do get +2 era score from researching the exoplanet expedition. We're immediately going to come into Copan. We're going to start the exoplanet expedition, and then we'll go ahead and feed some builders into this. Now, this one is important for us to finish ASAP because this is the one that actually has an impact on how quickly we win the game. To the point where it might be worth it for us to plug in integrated space cell, but you know, I'll leave it there. I won't bother. Actually, we're in a heroic age, so I think we go Heartbeat of Steam, Bodyguard of Lies, and 2 arms. Why not? Yeah. Seems good to me. The most important one is Heartbeat of Steam, which gives you +2, or it gives you production equal to the campus adjacency bonus. Carl Sagan is on the way. We'll take you. You're a random great writer. We don't particularly have a use for you. I'm just going to put you to sleep because you're far too much micromanagement than you're worth. I will, however, take a free great work of writing, or music rather, because it's worth a little bit of a culture per turn for a very small number of actions. This city, straight back to campus research grants. We've effectively completed the tech tree. We've effectively completed our build. We no longer require anything but a few builder actions to be fed into spaceports. And so that's what we're going to be prioritizing, is the builder actions. Excellent. Frederick shopping is done, and you are going in here. Awesome. Let's feed another builder into the spaceport. That'll shave another turn off the exoplanet expedition. You are going to go ahead and scoop up another great work for me. Cultural alliance. I do not care for a cultural alliance. Our alliance with Nader Shah lasts for another 13 turns. My hope would be that we could win the game by then. But, you know, that is more of a hope than a guarantee. Let's make sure we're buying a builder every single turn, not a tile. Buying a builder every single tile turn in the city of Palenque, and we're just going to click on the end of the culture tree because we don't care about any more cultural text because there's nothing in there that really matters. One day I might explain why nothing in there matters, but that's probably more of a Metallica's. Metallica's. Oh my god, I lost the word. Metallica's. Nothing else matters. I was going to say Metallica's wheelhouse, their job. I don't know. Listen, I made a silly joke and then I wasn't able to follow through on it, so it just becomes a monument to my inability to make jokes and follow through on them. There is a lot of rock bands being spammed out here, and Basil's culture is growing really, really quickly, but we have launched the Exoplanet Expedition. It's a fantastic project. We are now officially on the road to victory, +4 era score per turn, and that means sorry, not +4 era score per turn. We got +4 era score for launching it, and now the maximum number of turns that can be remain in the game is about 50. Technically, it can be longer in very niche circumstances, but generally that is the max. I'm going to go ahead and research this because I suspect that the exoplanet expedition boosting things are in here. So a lot of our turns are just going to be bing, chilling, and not really doing a whole lot while we wait for things to happen. So if I can squeeze out a few extra campus research grants, squeeze out a little bit of science, that's what I will do, because every shred of science that I can squeeze out at this point might shave a turn off my victory, and shaving a turn off your victory when you're trying to play an optimized game is it's a pretty noble goal as far as I'm concerned. Let's go ahead and keep buying builders. I do have room for traders. I could theoretically go to Copan and buy myself a trader. Don't even know if I'll get much value from that, but hey, it is what it is. Okay, sewer has been completed in TCal. Nikkei is flipping to me. Let's just go ahead and run campus research grants again in this city, because again, this allows me to convert my production into science, which is what I need to win the game, because the thing that I need to do is to research these final technologies. I do kind of like that the way that they changed science victories really made it super hardcore focus on the most important thing for a science victory now is how much science can you generate, which is kind of really fun, because in every other victory type that is kind of true, right? In a faith-based victory, the amount of faith that you can produce is kind of dictating how well you're going to win. In a science victory, the only one that doesn't really apply to is in a culture victory. You have to produce tourism, but that's kind of like a tertiary, that's like a second order yield from other things. Diplomatic victory is kind of diplomatic victory is, in my opinion, actually the most varied victory type. So in theory, the diplomatic victory should be the most fun to play because it actually offers the most opportunities for a player to experience different mechanics of the game. And I think what I'll do is maybe I'm going to do a series of tutorials where I'm going to be your first win in Civilization 6. Yeah, actually, I like that as a tutorial series because a friend of mine's son, he recently picked up Civilization 6 for the Switch. And he asked me, could I do a tutorial series for him to teach him how to play? And so I will. I will make a cool little tutorial series for the kiddo. How to play your first game of Civ. Let's go for the zoo. zoo. We already have the zoo. I think, again, we just go for campus research grants. We just need to squeeze out science. I think at this point, it's not... Our amenities aren't going to dip down low enough. I do want you to protect my spaceports, and I should really, honestly, actually, maybe really quickly, if I could squeeze out an extra spy here to very quickly be able to defend this spaceport as well, that might be pretty useful. Gonna put all those builders asleep. I should probably use the actual sleep command, but hey, listen, that is the way that the cookie crumbles. Moderate flood, plus 3 damage per tile, or plus 3 damage to tiles. I think I'll grab this 4-charge builder and bring him over here because he's not particularly useful for feeding into the spaceport. I'm wondering, there we go, the off-world mission technology. So we can use both aluminium and just electricity to speed up our victory condition. Now, we are currently going, we have traveled 3 light years, which is not bad. What button? You know what I need to do? I need to learn my sleep hotkey. So let me, where's my key binding? Sleep. What does F do? I'm going to say sleep is Control S. So now I could just Z Control S on my builders, Z Control S, and that'll let me put my builders to sleep without having to actually click on the UI. Hotkeys honestly are super important if you're going to play the game. Like efficiently. I know that sounds insane. Like, what do you mean hotkeys are important? But really, it just is. Like, all I have to do when if I want to click on this portion of the screen, I just press Z, right? I click this guy, I just press Z, and that opens up this thing, and then I look at this menu, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take Carl Sagan. Yeah, sure, totally. Seems good to me. And then I press Z again, it goes to the next unit, Control S, he's asleep. Z, oh, there's a builder over here. I'll move him over there. Control S, builder, move him there. Control S. And it's just like, I don't know how to explain it. And I've also learned, like, by muscle memory where all the parts of the UI are, so I could just like click preemptively. Like, sometimes I'll click on buttons that haven't even appeared yet, because technically you can click on the button before the animation to show that the button is there, is completed. Which is kind of a fun thing. I think people, when they watch me, like, when I'm in the zone and people watch me play, they're like, holy shit, like, this guy just is like able to think so quickly. And here's the thing, Civilization is a game about, playing slowly and having a good time, but I think there is a place for someone who can play it really quickly and make moderately good decisions. We did just get like damaged over here, which really sucks. I mean, it didn't really destroy anything except for an amenity building, and the amenities in here is fine, so I think we can live with that damage. I don't know, when you watch me play Civ, are you amazed at how quickly I can make decisions and do things? Because I feel like maybe that's part of the draw, the fact that I can talk about the game and just like play at such a high speed and just have a really good time, and also be funny and insightful, I hope, when I'm talking about my relationships and talking about fun stuff. I don't know, I'm gassing myself up right now. We're glazing hard, boys. Okay, we're glazing like we never glazed before. And to be honest with you, we have never glazed. Oh, Jesus, we're taking serious damage here. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. We got a campus research grant. Let's go ahead and start pumping. Pump up the jam. Pump it up. Oh, wow. I gotta say, it brings me immense pleasure. I was watching Philomena Kunk with a few friends of mine, my good old friend group. And the fact that song kept coming on, it actually, I don't know why, but I just love that song so much. And it brought me so much joy and pleasure to have it pop up when we were watching it. All right, let's go ahead and take 2 more suzerainties. That's 1,000 science per turn. Now, unfortunately, we are kind of at the phase of the game where science doesn't matter as much. However, it still does matter. And I'll explain why in a moment. And that's because the very final tech here, every time you research it, you get a 5% boost to the rate at which you build projects. And since the thing that we're going to be doing for the rest of the game is building projects, that seems like it would be a pretty important piece of, tech. And when I say tech, I don't mean literal technology, I mean like technique. Like I'm talking about fighting games. Okay, perfect. The Lagrange laser station is completed, or rather, we're ready to start pumping them. I'm going to start pumping terrestrial laser stations out of Copan because we can do them in 1 turn. We don't actually need to feed builders in there. That's insane. But the Lagrange laser station, I'll be doing in the city of Wak Nabal because the production is quite a bit lower there. I guess this is an opportunity to use Carl Sagan for his intended purpose. There's a Lagrange laser station. We'll also get started on another Lagrange laser station. So by building Lagrange laser stations, we use aluminium and we turn it into... we also just fed a builder in there. We turn it into science speed. So now we're traveling 2 light years per turn because we just used Carl Sagan to finish that mission, right? That's a really, really cool thing. Future tech, we're going to go ahead and start researching that because that's a +5 production boost towards city projects every time we complete this technology. So that is the goal. And it won't significantly speed up our victory time, but it will speed it up ever so slightly. I'm loving that we're 1-turning this project here, by the way. I think that's amazing. A nice and healthy 1,000 science per turn. Just about. I think a couple of suzerainties and we'll get a little step higher. There's another terrestrial laser station fired. Let's go ahead and fire the terrestrial laser station. This one will take 2 turns, which means it is time to feed a builder in there to try and bring it down to 1. Not that we were able to manage that. Let's keep feeding builders in here, making sure we're putting builders where it is appropriate. Just shift up all the builder boys into more locally optimal positions. So like if I want to skip through all my builders turns, all I have to do is press Z space, Z space, Z space. It's super optimal and it feels really good too. We had a little bit of a drought over here, but that's fine. Not a big deal. Oh, Stephanie Kwolek, 100% production towards space race projects. Oh, please. Now, really important thing, you never want to finish a terrestrial laser station project with a builder, because what will happen is the city will become depowered and you won't actually benefit from it, right? Here's how I explain. We've traveled 14 light years. I finished this project with the builder, okay? Now the city's power requirements are too high for it, and we're no longer benefiting from that. And we're only traveling 2 light years per turn. So never, ever, ever, ever finish the terrestrial laser station project with a builder. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? Hopefully that explains why. Let's go ahead and achieve this. But with Stephanie Kwolek, I'm pretty sure I can 1-turn terrestrial laser stations in the city anyway, so it's not even that big of a deal. It'll hurt us slightly. But in the grand scheme of things, it'll all come back together the way we want it to. Lagrange laser station is firing. Awesome. Future tech. And the terrestrial laser station is firing again. I'll let that go through. We fired a Lagrange. Let's do one more Lagrange, and we will chop a builder in there to bring it down to 2 turns. We're currently traveling 5 light years per turn, and there's 35 light years to go, so we should win in at least 7 turns. We'll do future tech once again to finish that. Research the future tech, because that's a 5% boost to the production of these projects. We will happily reunite. Oh, yep, reunite as friends. I need to renew my alliances with these characters, because that's actually a lot of production in this city that I'm not benefiting from. Let's talk to Nader Shah. I will go for the economic alliance. I'll get him to pay me a little bit of cash. That's fine. Gilgamesh. Give me your friendship alliance. It's a whole damn mess. And now the city is cranking at a 243 production level. Damn. Terrestrial laser station launch. Perfect. Anyone want to buy me aluminium? Oh, I'll buy all your luxuries to keep my amenities nice and high, even though I'm already at maxed out amenities. The power of amenities. Let's have a look here. I want to buy strategic aluminium. I will buy yours. Thank you. So we refill our coffers so we can keep pumping out these Lagrange laser stations. Lagrange laser stations are actually more optimal, in my opinion, because you can always chop builders into them, and because they don't take power, you can't depower your city and slow down your actual win condition. So technically you should always, if you can, build the ones for aluminum. That's why it's actually quite good to do a domination victory into a science transition if you're in a really big map. Because you tend to be able to store up a lot of aluminum, and you have so much land, you have a ridiculous amount of aluminum, and you'll have so many cities that you'll be able to do a lot with that. So it's quite interesting sort of overlaps between mechanics. Let's go for the terrestrial laser station. You could do it in a single turn, and you will go for the Lagrange laser station, and we will feed a builder into this spaceport to speed it up to 2 turns, and we will go for Sergei Korolev. Do you know what? I'm just gonna finish that project right there. There's a Lagrange laser station for you, bud. And we will go in and get ourselves another Lagrange. We're up to 9 light years per turn with 23 things to go. So potentially 2 to 3 turns for a victory condition here. Very exciting stuff. You know, if there's any like late game mechanics questions you guys have, just feel free to just slap those into the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. But it's mostly like just very straightforward, like logical consequences of the game mechanics. And when you fiddle around with these things, you kind of learn like the nuances. Okay, terrestrial laser station has been flooped. There's a +5 production towards all project every time it's completed. Let's go ahead and fire another terrestrial laser station. We're out of aluminium again, so let's go to the quick deals. We'll buy more aluminium. Yoink, thank you very much. We will launch the Lagrange laser station. That's perfect. We will build another Lagrange laser station, and we'll feed a builder in. Boosh. We are now traveling at 11 light years per turn with 24 to go, so we should win in 3 turns. Future tech is going. Continue to trade for maximum production. Yeah, we've won, guys. It's over. And, you know, it's probably a good time to reflect upon the game. What a really weird and fun game is Civ 6. I really just like, here's the thing. I see all these other YouTubers, right? And I don't want to call out like people like Bose or Inquisitive Otter. Like, these are actually fantastic Civilization YouTubers, but they just play and engage with the game on a completely different level to me. And I understand why. Because they get the most views out of their videos and probably the most personal satisfaction from completing a challenge, right? It's like that lovely overlap. For me, I hate doing challenges. I like just sitting down and letting a game of Civ unfold and then trying to navigate my way through the storyline that the game tells. It's not that I hate doing challenges, it's that I hate doing challenges. Well, I don't necessarily hate doing them. It's just that I don't derive as much pleasure from doing a challenge as I do from just exploring the game's mechanics and playing it for the sake of playing. I'm a very intrinsically motivated person, right? I'm motivated by my own reasons to do things. And so like even financial stuff just really doesn't motivate me. for me, the motivation to make more money is actually just to like have a better life for me and my family and my friends, because like I hire my friends for my YouTube channel. Like 2 of my friends now work with me, which is why we're launching a Patreon, and launching a Patreon will lead to us having more money, and then I can give job security to my friends. Like I don't care if I end up in a cardboard box, honestly. I mean, obviously I would prefer not to, but I genuinely do not give a damn, because at the end of the day, as long as I'm able to work minimum wage and do this thing that I love, like YouTubing, I'm happy. Like I'm super happy with that. And I feel very privileged and lucky to be in a position to be able to say that, to even just consider that idea. That obviously that's going to change if I ever have kids and get married and like I'm in a more complicated situation. But right now, man, it's just like we're good. And honestly, that's a really liberating and freeing and it's an emotionally safe place to be. And I'm really happy about it. And it really wouldn't be possible without you guys watching. So I'm going to dedicate this science victory to you guys. And in the future, every single victory that I ever do in Civ, every single game that I ever say, will be dedicated to the people on Patreon who will not only give me and my friends who work for me a job security, but also give me the opportunity to make content that is not shackled to ad revenue. And I think that's going to be a really fun and exciting and interesting period for the channel. I've got this energy in me ever since, a few things have happened in my life, both professionally, personally, and on a family side this year that have like completely reinvigorated me. And I'm super hyped right now to get work done and like just build and work on things. So here we go. A few graphs here. We got Lady Six Guy. We're like ramping, dude. Cities captured. We didn't really capture that many cities. We did just kill 2. In terms of cities founded, I feel like we founded a decent number. We weren't like top of the pack. We were pretty far behind, which is pretty standard for Deity. I mean, just look how many cities they have before I even got like my 3rd city out. It was a pretty slow early game. But around about here, we managed to grab a few extra late game cities that kind of put us up towards the, on par with the AI. I think the really key point here, though, is that we managed to have a really damn good science game where we managed to overcome the AI around turn 140. And partially this is just down to the fact that the AI didn't have a particularly good science game. They usually do a lot better than this, but just this particular game, they just really struggled. I'm really curious about our culture. Yeah, strangely enough, we also managed to stay on par with culture. I'm not really sure how we managed that. I'm kind of curious why the AI's culture was so low this game. I think just the amenities thing is actually way better than I ever thought, and I really need to start respecting amenities a lot more and trying to aim for at least, I think the whole amenities things is way more important than I gave it credit for. And we actually even built an average amount of wonders this game, which isn't bad. Like 5 wonders is pretty damn good, and we focused on like the really, really good wonders. The most important graph here, though, is the total religions founded. Here you go. There it is. We've founded no religions. And that's going to be it for me. Let's do just one more turn, because we're going to take a picture of the Empire. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.